States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Ritter might be walking in.
Maybe Mr. Ritter now. Barney, let's have a slow roll call.
Is that him? No. Okay.
Mr. Bova.
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Gottman.
Present.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
All right. Next up is comments from residents on agenda items. Do we have anybody signed up?
No one signed up in advance.
Is there anybody that wants to speak on anything related to the agenda? All right, moving on. Section A, minutes of previous meetings.
So. Second. Yep.
Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Bova, to approve the minutes.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Ritter, present.
Okay.
Present.
Didn't go quite slow enough. Mr. Ritter, we are voting on approving the minutes.
The minutes are perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Bonnie, roll call.
Oh, Ronnie, I did send you one correction to the minutes. Did you get that in your email?
I didn't see it. I must have left already.
With the exception of the one correction.
I will make that correction.
Understood, that can be made.
Okay.
It's a minor correction.
Okay. Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Section B, bills, financial reports, and budget transfers. Mr. Schott?
Mr. McIntyre. Section B, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approve Sections B1 listed bills, B2 monthly financial statements, and B3 budget transfers as listed in Section B at the Tuesday, June 18, 2019 regular board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Gottman. I almost said Johnson. Or it would be Crockett. Bonnie?
Roll call.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to Section C, I don't believe we have anything previously tabled. So moving on to Section D, personnel agenda. Mrs. Crump?
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 8 as listed in Section D for the regular board meeting of Tuesday, June 18th. Under resignations, we have 2 listed, 3 leave of absence, 2 transfers per the collective bargaining agreement, 3 hires of employment, 1 maintenance, 2 secretaries, 2 substitute custodians. Under 5, we have all the supplemental contracts for the 1920 school year. Under Section 6, we have 3 volunteers. Under Section 7, it's approval of an employment contract. And under Section 8 is return to furlough for the 1920 professional positions. That will be taking 2 of our teachers, Ms. Becker, Mr. Finkel, back on furlough. However, they will have positions available once the bidding is done.
So moved.
I got a question.
I need a second first.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Gottman. Any comments, questions, Mr. Lafferty?
I got a question to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, here I am again. Hey, on this new hiring, that's Greg Morale, did he take an interview with you? Okay, did he, does he know that he's gonna take a 25% decrease for 90 days, a probation period?
That is something that has to be discussed yet with the contract clause that we have.
It wasn't discussed with him yet?
It would be anybody that takes that position.
So, how can I vote on somebody that might not even accept the 90-day probation period?
That's up to,
You can vote no.
Pardon me?
Said you can vote no.
No, I understand what I can do.
I think it's an excellent question, Mr. Lavin.
But I'm
Is
just
it
asking
routine
him
that
a
we would
question.
normally inform them of such a clause in the contract?
this
or-
was a clause that was put in the last contract that is actually slated to be out of the new contract because it was problematic to get people in our district at any level.
Mr. Brown, could you go up here? I can't hear you.
No, we appreciate it, Mr. Brown.
If you could enunciate a little more loudly for the benefit of Mrs. Warning.
And one of the things I would like to contribute to this too is just because you hire, we typically do not give offers of employment because we can't do that until we have 5 votes. So just like all of those people on here, they will all get phone calls from me tonight explaining their contract. It is not uncommon for you to sit there and tell that to somebody and they say, I'm sorry, I can't come. So if that is the case, then when we have the July meeting where we have hiring, we would put another recommendation in for another person.
My only concern I have, why weren't they questioning this probation period and this 25% before today? Why do we have to say, well, you got the job, are you going to accept this, this clause in this contract? I don't understand that.
That is a clause, like I said, was a problematic clause that was in our previous contract and is not slated to be in the new contract, which is up at the end of this month. So those, you know, and anybody that is going to take that position has that same requirement.
I have a question. You're saying that the contract is up at the end of this month?
What doesn't mean it's going to be settled by
Correct.
then, but that's when, you know, it is.
So what your thoughts are, since it's not settled, are you looking at taking that clause out that there will not be that 90-day probation period?
I can't do that.
We could
You know,
You
that,
have to be really careful what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
we're
Yeah, we
currently
could kinda
in
get into
contract
it, yeah.
negotiations, so at this point in time, we're not at liberty to
Okay,
discuss.
no, I just wanted, when
Yeah.
you brought that up, I was just wondering. Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Want to talk about the contract, go to executive session?
Didn't
What?
understand that.
I think what Mrs. Cerucci is saying is if we want to discuss details of ongoing contract negotiations, we need to adjourn to executive to do so. All right, any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Bonnie? Roll call,
Dr.
please.
Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
I don't, everything except number 4, the maintenance worker.
Okay. Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
I to all but number 7. I wasn't informed of that.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to section E, conferences and conventions. Dr. Jakey, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes the following conferences and conventions as listed in Section E at the regular board meeting of Tuesday, June 18th, 2019.
So moved. Second?
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Gottman. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, Bonnie, roll call, please.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein. Dr.
Aye.
And Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, moving to section F, administrative reports, and a few action items there. Dr. Short?
Dr. Rossi?
Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes the following items, 1 through 15, as listed in section F. Number 1 is enhancing early literacy cohort for Dr. Cleveland Stewart Elementary School, and professional services agreements as listed.
So moved. Second.
I'm sorry, we're just doing 1 and 2? Is that?
Are we-
There's more.
Yeah, there's
Dr.
just 3
James.
more.
Yeah, we want to maybe,
Keep going. We can go through the entire.
yeah. Motion by Mr. Williams, second by, I believe, Mr. Bova. We can hold that, but let's go ahead and read through the.
Item number 3, facility agreements. And we move into the financial report.
Item number 4, approval of increases for student lunch and student breakfast prices for the cafeteria fund for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, as depicted below. Item number 5, approve and adopt the final cafeteria fund budget for the 1920 fiscal year in the amount of $1,960,000, reflecting an increase in expenditures of $2,000 or 0.102% more than the cafeteria fund budget for the 1819 fiscal year. Item number 6, approve and adopt the final general fund budget for the 1920 fiscal year in the amount of $77,269,000, reflecting an increase in expenditures of $1,957,000 or 2.60% greater than the general fund budget for the 1819 fiscal year. The final general fund budget does not include an increase in the district's real estate tax millage rate. Thus, the real estate tax millage rate will remain at 19.8675 mils for the 1920 fiscal year. The 19.8675 mils is the equivalent of $1.98675 on each $100 of assessed valuation of taxable real estate property in the district. Please note, the district will be required to utilize unassigned fund balance in the amount of $673,000, consisting of $327,000 for the remaining deficit, which previously at the study session was listed at $494,000. So again, we decreased that by $167,000 to the regular meeting, plus $346,000 for the new copiers to balance the general fund budget for the 1920 fiscal year. Additional unassigned fund balance from the general fund is projected to be utilized to fund the capital reserve fund budget through expenditures transfers during the 1920 fiscal year in the total amount of $1,504,000. Thus, the total projected utilization of unassigned fund balance in the general fund for the 1920 fiscal year is projected to be $2,177,000. Item number 7, approval of homestead and farmstead exclusion real estate assessment reduction for 2019. And summary, and to specifically note, an assessed value that amounts to a reduction of $9,112.37, which is the equivalent of $181.04 for each of the 8,069 approved homesteads listed within the municipality of Monroeville and the borough of Pitcairn. Item number 8, approve the payment of all applicable district bills by the business manager for the month of July 2019 in accordance with board policy number 616 via section B1 list of bills for the month of July 2019. Item number 9, approve the extension of the current liquid propane gas auto gas equipment pricing agreement and the national propane supply agreement with Feral Gas for the purchase of liquid propane gas to fuel the district's contracted school buses with Student Transportation of America for an additional term length beginning on July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2021, with a final fixed price rate to be determined based on the current market conditions. Item number 10 is acceptance of district donations received during the current 18-19 fiscal year, specifically the donations related to the University Park Backpack Program, Costco Wholesale $200 check, Temple David non-perishable food, Gateway High School Gator Cafe $500 in non-perishable food, and University Park PTO boxed animal crackers and fruit. Item number 11, approval of Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV federal funds preliminary allocation amounts for the 1920 fiscal year as depicted below. Item number 12, approve the agreement for the district's continued participation in the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services administered school-based access program in accordance with the terms and applicable fees for the 1920 fiscal year. And we were able to actually add this exhibit for a regular meeting from the study session meeting. And please note that the above fees for 1920 are the same as the fees charged by the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services during the 1819 fiscal year. Item number 13, approve the district's purchases and payments for the following department items during the 1819 fiscal year as listed. Please note we did have one change. The item listed as Firefly computers, 600 of the Go Guardian software through CoStars, in the amount of $6,840. That was from a reduction from the previous listed item that was listed at $9,000. That was based on some additional further quotes that Mr. Mike O'Brien was able to acquire for the district, so we did have a little bit of savings there. But all those items as listed total $290,614, and those are all being made during the 1819 fiscal year in order to provide some budgetary relief in the 1920 fiscal year. Item number 14, approve the district's sale of obsolete and damaged technology department equipment consisting of approximately 223 iPads and 20 MacBook Airs to AGI Repair, and the estimated total sale proceeds amount to be received in the range of the low as $5,055 to as high as $14,425, to be determined based on the actual quantities, conditions, and grading of the devices by the vendor. And again, these will help offset some of those previously related items mentioned in item number 13. Item number 15, award the copier services request for proposal to AMCOM, who met the district's copier and printing specifications for the purchase of new copiers and printers through PEPM in the amount of $283,537.15, and a required buyout of the current Conica Minolta lease in an amount of $61,841.45 during the 1920 fiscal year, and with continued monthly copier service and repairs to be handled by AMCOM during subsequent 5 fiscal years, 2019-2020 through the 2023-2024 fiscal year, at the maintenance agreements depicted in Exhibit E.
So moved.
Second. We already had a motion and a second.
Yeah, we already have one in place, but
So we're
that's fine.
So that's for 1 through 15.
That's for the whole shebang, yes. All right, any comments, questions?
I do. On the budget that we're supposed to agree on tonight, I still have questions, and I know money's moved in here and that, taking it from this year to next year, but I just have a hard time voting on a budget where there's too many unanswered things that, I'm not aware of, that I'm seeing coming up here in front of me. I heard that more money was put back into the library fund. I don't know how much. I mean, they cut $65,000. I don't know how much more was put back in. So that's the reason I'm going to vote no on the budget for
Mr. Schott, you want to maybe address the library cut?
From the booklet that was submitted to the board 2 weeks ago at the Budget and Finance Committee meeting, all the detail that was sent out for that, that did show library book cuts. Those cuts still remain at those levels as depicted in those pages.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I have a hard time spending money when we're looking at cutting books for the elementary, when there's so much usage in the elementary schools. So that's my main reason for that.
Anybody else? Bonnie, roll
So
call.
the small, I have a question.
Yes, Mary Beth.
This is by her correctly. Nothing changed in the line item budget we received from Scott about a week ago.
No, there were some significant changes from that version. We did that version because we had made a lot of changes up to that particular point in time for that. And I want to say probably almost every day since then, we've made various expenditure changes and even some revenue changes. Matter of fact, even what's depicted this evening, showing the remaining deficit at $327,000, we were further able to close the gap by approximately $167,000. That consisted of some various adjustments, as well as, surprisingly, we had some additional real estate assessment information that the county released as of last Friday that we were able to actually increase our current real estate tax revenues for next year based on the increase in assessed values. So again, there has been various adjustments made for that.
But none of those adjustments come by way of like cuts, and cutting down on staffing or supplies or anything like that.
As far as the integrity of the budget in terms of programs, no programs were modified in any negative sense for that. So again, even with the cuts that were made and/or reductions for next year, items that we moved in for purchase in 18-19, we still maintain the overall integrity of the district's programs moving forward.
And one of the items that we were looking at, Mrs. Warning, and I kind of hinted at it towards you earlier today. I believe Dr. Chakey and I were in conversation that we were looking at iPads for the libraries. A lot of the books that are accessible online through certain apps that we were trying to make available to students.
Finding out also with that, they can only use those apps so many times. The license are only good for so many books for so long. So talking to the librarians, not everybody can use those apps at one time. So they're limited. And even using just research going on that the ebooks aren't as, they're not taking off as they had looked at. They're looking at more that the kids like to hold the books, to turn the pages. And that's from looking at the numbers that I had received from Mr. Crestar, the elementary schools excel. And you see it decreasing as it goes down in the upper grades. And that's why I feel that, they should have more. I know we gave them money last year, but once you take it away, they're not going to get it back. And I've seen that. So that's why I am, reaching out for the libraries. Because you see the updates are doing, like even to the Carnegie Library with everything's down in the Monroeville Library. We have the pop-up libraries that Monroeville Library is doing at the elementary schools this year. So the kids are there, they want the books, and, our books that we have now at the elementary are deteriorating. And that's why I look at, giving the library more money.
Okay.
That was it. Thank you.
All right, so let me ask you a question, if I may, Val. Would this desire to get more school books to the library prevent you from voting on passing the school budget?
That's a part of it.
Part of it, okay. So would it be appropriate to hold up a vote on the school budget until we find a way to address this single item?
If I can maybe just touch on
We
it.
can't do that.
If I may, Mrs. Rucci. Mr. Shaw, when was it that the board was actually informed of the cuts to the library fund? Approximately how long ago?
Probably been a couple weeks.
So we've had several weeks, I think actually pushing probably a month. So
Probably pretty close to a month.
that we've known about these cuts. And I think it's kind of silly to wait until literally 30 seconds before we vote to.
So if I might offer an alternative, why don't we continue to look into ways to get more books into the schools, the paper-based books, because those are terrific for the little kids. But let's not let that hold up an affirmative vote or a vote on the school budget, okay?
Well, John, I'm just going to say, I know the budget's going to pass, but, I would just like to voice my opinion on my thoughts and my concerns for the kids, because we are here for the kids, and they learn their reading, they learn all the basics at the elementary level, and that's where it starts. I mean, going into the schools in the mornings, which I do visit the schools and I hear about it, but if you see how active the kids are in the library in the mornings, they have book checkouts and they can't wait, it's their day.
I think we have a roll call vote. Please, Barney.
Sorry, I was talking about the children, Mr.
I understand.
McIntyre. Thank
And
you.
we're talking about the budget, so we're going to move on. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ritter,
Aye?
Mrs. Warning,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Bova,
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci,
Aye.
Mr. Gottman,
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein,
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. McIntyre.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on to resolutions presented by board members.
Thank you.
We'll take it, Mr. Gottman.
Sure, I'll take it. Resolution Gateway School District awarding a bonus of $5,000 to Dr. William Short, Superintendent, Gateway School District. Now therefore be resolved and enacted this today. The $5,000 bonus hereby awarded to Dr. Short, payable on June 30th. All resolutions or parts of resolutions which are inconsistent
herewith are hereby repealed, and if any section, clause, provision, or portion of this resolution shall be held invalid or unconstitutional by any court or competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect any other section, clause, provision, portion of this resolution so long as it remains legally enforceable minus the invalid portion.
Second.
Can we
Look.
update the
Who
date
made the
for
motion?
payroll to the 28th instead of the 30th? Please.
Did you catch it, Ms. Isha?
No, I didn't, I'm
The
sorry.
payroll date needs to be changed from the 30th to the 28th.
28th.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, motion by Mr. Gottman, second by Mr. Williams. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I do. It's probably too late now. I would have rather Mr. Short, Dr. Short have a little bit more than this because for one reason, he's been in the district now for 4 years doing outstanding work. He wasn't evaluated for 2 or 3 years, which he should have been. That way he could have got other benefits on top of that. Plus, he got his doctor's degree. I feel he should be reimbursed for that too. That's my own personal opinion.
Okay. Roll call. Bonnie?
Mrs. Warning.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Bova.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, comments from residents on non-agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to get up and say? Dave?
I just have
If you,
a
you know how this
You have to
works.
get up and-
Get up in the mic.
We saw it.
As sure as I am that your booming voice
That's
carries
pretty
to that mic.
Yeah.
The David Weissel, 129 Pinlear Drive. I just noticed the 60 supplemental contracts, just as an administrative thing, if we could get a total at the bottom. I did it real quick in my head and got like $1.30 without the change. So just maybe
And it's
for the
probably-
public, you
not
know,
a bad
they
idea.
can see what the total is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, moving on to reports. Let's start us off, Dr. Short.
Sure. Mr. Brown, are you with us? The other Mr. Brown, Micah.
Michael.
Always smiling.
I think I would be remiss in not acknowledging the work of Micah Brown here. A number of the items listed tonight within the budget that we voted on, including the copiers, the purchasing of multiple technology within the district. Micah spent a lot of time, a lot of hours analyzing, investigating, speaking with individuals, and touching base with me here and there, text messages at night, meetings in the morning. So I feel it's important that sometimes Micah is behind the scenes, the man behind the curtain, so to speak. But he does do an excellent job in ensuring that our students, our faculty, support staff, personnel receive the finest technology, and more importantly, that it operates and runs efficiently and smoothly for the taxpayers. So thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I will have to say, even though you voted tonight, this is really just the beginning for us. It's going to be up to me and the rest of the technology department to really put this stuff out, get everything ready for the first day of school. So there's no downtime. We can go right into the school year and get the year started off right. So
And I know we have members of AMCON with us tonight, and thank you. Look forward to working with you in the future. Okay, thank you.
Micah, and you have a surprise, like, next meeting to tell us afterwards?
you never know. You'll have to wait till
I know, okay, I know.
That's all I
Won't say
have.
anything. Thanks, Micah.
All right. Ms. Bungar,
Nothing at this time, thank you.
just move it down the line. We know where these are going. Mr. Schott,
Nothing further, thank you.
newly rehired Mrs. Crump.
Well, thank you very much. We will be doing teacher postings this evening, so we want our teachers to look at the emails. Tonight will be the first round draft, then by Friday, the second round will go out. We do have postings on PA Educator and the website for current positions that we do have opening up, so we want everybody to look at those and to apply.
Thank you.
Very good. Bob, and if you could step up, I'd like to ask about 20 seconds to give an update on the Gateway High School track. But let me jump on. Senator Brewster is our senator here for our school district and surrounding school districts. He just held a school safety town hall conference call. That's what I was listening to.
Dr. Chakey was listening in as well.
As I was walking over here, and he mentioned the innovations and the leadership demonstrated by the Gateway School District, including specifically Mrs. Cerrucci's expertise in creating a cogent and workable method of increasing the safety and security of the school district. He also mentioned seeing a novel method that people in a certain school building could use to help alert the security officers of a potential trouble area. And I like this, and I wanted to bring it up for us to think about. It's similar to the size and form factor of a fire alarm, but it doesn't call the fire department or the police. It just alerts the security officers who are monitoring many screens through many cameras that something troublesome could be happening at a certain floor or certain section of the building. So somebody walks up, they pull or push this little button on the wall, and all of a sudden the monitor lights up and the security officer looks at that camera to see, is there something we need to do to bring the security officers to that section, to call some teachers out or whatever. So that's a nice, very soft little device that could be hung on the wall and maybe powered wirelessly through technology or something like that. That is a very nice little feature that's easily and cheaply added to increase the security. And it can be done by the students, by cafeteria workers, janitor workers, anybody walking by that sees a little bit of trouble. It's not to the level of something reportable yet, just a little trouble. That's a nice feature. So Jim brought that up. I like that, wanted to bring it up to us here. Number 2, PSBA's daily edition, which came out today, says that the Gateway School District has the ability to name a voting delegate for the upcoming delegate assembly to be held in Harrisburg, October 18th, 2019. So if we want to attend that leadership conference and send somebody out there to serve as a voting delegate, then we have until like the 30th, the 26th, the 28th of this month to name somebody to go out on behalf of Gateway and do that. So
I nominate you,
for
Mr.
volunteers.
I second that nomination.
I third the nomination.
There you go.
Mr. Ritter is
Pack
it.
your bag, sir.
All right, and that's all I have. Thanks very kind. Oh, and Bob, how's the new track coming?
Slower than hoped for. The rain we've had in the last few weeks has really slowed us down. We need multiple days in a row with sunshine and dry weather. So with the forecast for this weekend, we hope to be around 85% at the end of Saturday. We will be having our Drum and Bugle Corps show next Wednesday, so we're going to pull them off for those 2 days and then hopefully finish it up right afterwards.
Thank you for that update. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Ritter. Mrs. Warren?
I'm gonna try to get in 5 minutes. Please don't cut me off.
You're fine.
Okay, I'm just saying. As far as the backpack, we had just recently got an email that Sam's will be giving the backpack program another $1,000 check. So I really appreciate everybody that has come forward and helped that. The Monroeville Library has given us so many non-perishable foods. That will be in the agenda next time. Just a reminder, the physicals are due in the athletic office on or before July 29th. Packets can be picked up at the high school, the middle school, and at the athletic office. And they can be dropped off at the athletic office Monday through Thursday from 8 o'clock until 3. So make sure everybody remembers. Mr. Braun, thank you. You don't have to get up again. But your workers are really working. You go into the buildings, the desks are out of the classrooms, you see them upside down or cleaning the bottoms of, all the little foots and all feet. Pardon me? Not the chewing gum, I'm just saying to clean the feet. They're very, very working hard. So thank goodness the weather hasn't been that hot and they're getting a lot done. So it has helped, but they have been really pushing themselves. ESY and the early literacy program, we're working on 2 weeks. That everything's been flowing very smoothly. It's a good place for the kids to keep motivated and learning through the summer months. And I know I'm going to put that little pitch in there again that they use the library for things that are going on. So let's not forget about the library for these kids. And as Mr. Brown mentioned, the Drum and Bugle Corps will be here next Wednesday using our fantastic field and all our services that we have here. And just a shout out to Magnolia Krim. She is a 2019 graduate of Gateway. And she is an alternate in the color guards for the Spirit of Atlanta, and will be performing here at the Drum and Bugle Corps. And Magnolia, she has been color guard since 6th grade, so she stayed with the program, and now she's with something she's looked forward to. So with that, that's all I need, and thank you, and have a good summer.
Thank you, Mr. Mourning. Mr. Lapsovich?
Thank you. One day I was thinking about how great a police force and how secure our buildings are and everything. But when I was going to school, we didn't need that. Doors were opened up, people came in. So I happened to come across this little saying I like to say, and you can agree with me or not, but I feel this means a lot. Mary had a little lamb. His feast was white as snow. Anywhere Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. He followed her to school each day. He made the children laugh and play. To have a lamb at school, and one day at the rules all changed. Illegal it became to bring the Lamb of God to school or even speak its name. Every day got worse, and each day turned into years. Instead of children laughing and playing, we heard gunshots and tears. What must we do to stop crime that schools have to worry about today? Maybe let's bring the Lamb back to school and to teach our kids to pray. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lapsovich. Mr. Bova, you need a minute?
No, I got nothing. Thanks.
Bruce? Mrs. Cerrucci?
Nothing.
Dr. Kalkstein?
Nothing further, thank you.
Mr. Williams?
I'd just like to make it official in nominating John to be our representative in Harrisburg. And I'd like to make a motion that we make John our representative.
I will second that, Mr. Moore.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Again, pack your bags, sir.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Gottman?
I'd like to acknowledge our own wall here. Our selection is basically like a cumulative collection from everything from 1st grade up to 12th grade. And if you take a look, you can see not only the great artwork from our youngest students, 1st grade, but the level of growth from there till 12th grade, especially our 2 12th grade artists. Those pictures are absolutely amazing. It's a great job. And we have the 4th of July coming up in a few weeks. And I was kind of thinking about that. And I guess when you think of 4th of July now, things that come to mind first probably cookouts, parades, fireworks, the most tackiest clothes you'll ever see on the planet. No, these are good. But I guess one thing that kind of starts going by the wayside more and more is the actual significance of 4th of July. I mean, it was the most important holiday of the country because it was the day we were founded. Our forefathers, after years of oppression from England, they put everything on the line in hopes that their children and their children's children can live in a world of freedom and safety. And because of that, we are sitting here today. And it's also with that we're motivated. Every generation has been motivated to continue that fight for freedom between us here at home and our men and women over abroad. So with that, I hope we continue to remember why we celebrate 4th of July, to continue our fight for freedom, not just here, but for everywhere. And I would like to end with a quote from President John F. Kennedy, that he said, "Let every nation know whether it wishes us well or ill, we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and success of liberty." And with that, I hope everybody has a safe holiday and a happy summer.
Thank you, Mr. Gottman. I'm certainly thankful that through all that hard work through those generations that you have the freedom to wear whatever jacket you feel appropriate to the meeting.
Good point, Rick. Good point.
Outside of that, I just want to thank all of the administration, Mr. Schott in particular, for all of the diligence and the hard work and perseverance in getting this budget passed without a tax increase, as the board pretty strongly directed. I know that was not an easy task. It was something that even, minutes before we're going into meetings, adjustments are being made. You guys are constantly vigilant and looking for ways to save taxpayer money. So I appreciate all that effort, and I thank you for that. And that's all I have. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Gottman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.